Hi, you guys. Thanks to Newport Beach Public Library, I was able to pick up some extra books that I had on hold. I know many of you were asking me about boxing books lately, and we did look into ordering some, but then all this happened, so that might be on hold for a while. But I was able to pick up some books on that subject. The first one that we're going to go over today is called Boxing on This Day: History, Facts, and Figures from Every Day of the Year by Nick Parkinson. So the closest one to this date would be April 23rd. This particular tidbit comes from 1977. Boxing politics insanely contrived that no world titles were on the line when the world's best two bantamweights, Carlos Zarate and Alfonso Zamora, collided in California. But what was at stake was Mexican pride between two bitter rivals who had a combined record of 67-0. That's 66 knockouts, and were former sparring partners. In an explosive encounter, WBA champion Zarate used his height and reach to drop his onrushing foe twice in the fourth round before WBC king Zamora's corner threw in the towel. It ended Zamora's 29 fight unbeaten record, and the pair would never meet again, which is pretty dramatic. The whole book is filled with things like that. I highly recommend it when we get back. Or you can put it on request now, as I'll return it in a week, and they do have curbside assistance. So if you just can't wait, have someone go pick it up for you. The second one I'm going to read to you from today is Boxing Like the Champs: Lessons from Boxing's Greatest Fighters by Mark Hatmaker. This is a how-to book. He has quite a big series, apparently, of every kind of fighting you can imagine. But I love the intro to this: Brains and Fists. Hello, reader. Let's start things off right with doing something rather than just reading. Hold up your hand. Seriously, I want you to do it right now. Look at it. Now make a fist. Turn it this way and that as you peer at it from all aspects. Your clenched fist, whether wielding a weapon or being a weapon itself, has always been the great equalizer in this world. We lack the brawn and brute strength of the silverback gorilla. We walk nakedly without prominent fangs and razor sharp claws. We have no thick protective hide, no cheetah like speed, no astounding leaps and bounds to escape like the springbok and other such nimble species. We have no rack of impressive antlers to butt with, no horns to hook with, quills or scent to deter with, no naturally secreted venom to strike and inject with. Look at that fist. This, for the most part, is what we have used to claw our way to the top of the heap. The clenched human fist, along with the human brain to think up all sorts of ways to use it. Brains and fists working together as one solid team. That's what this book is all about. Anyone can close their hand and sling it at someone. They may even do some damage if they are much larger or catch their quarry off guard. But once you put a thinking, calculating brain inside that fist wielder, you encounter an entirely different animal. One that is also capable of destruction and, oddly enough, since we are speaking of doing violence, beauty. Human beings admire power and a job well done. Masterly fisticuffs can oftentimes rise to the level of science and even poetry. Your fist is essentially no different from any other fist on the planet, so in theory, we should be able to be as awe inspiring as our weight class allows. What separates your fist, my fist, and most fists from true legendary status is the brain and intention behind it. That and lots of practice. This manual is going to take an inside look at some of the past greats to see if we can shine a light on how these undisputed masters of fistic science did what they did with this common tool. Let's look at that fist one more time. 27 bones bonded by sheaths of muscle, tendon, ligament, and skin guided by one human brain. We can't change our fists and what compromises them, but we can put new information into our brains to better use those 27 bones. Let's do that with some of the best fistic minds that ever walked this planet. Highly recommend this book. Very interesting. And then our last one is by Jeffrey Sussman, Boxing and the Mob: The Notorious History of the Sweet Science. So fans of boxing know that the sweet science means boxing. and there has been a history of gambling in there as well. This is from chapter 7. It's Up from the Mucklands. In upstate New York, there are acres and acres of onion fields. In Canastota, New York, those onion fields are known as the Mucklands. It is where the young Carmen Basilio labored as his dreams of a better life withered but did not die. Often muddied and rain soaked, his hands were left raw and red. Years later, after he achieved success as a boxer, Basilio told interviewers that if he had continued in the mucklands, he would have been heading without any detours to an anonymous grave. He said he had wanted recognition, not anonymity. I did what I wanted to do. Not many people can say that their boyhood dreams came true. My boyhood dream was to be a professional fighter, be the world champion, and fight in Yankee Stadium. As one of 10 siblings, the children of poor parents with little to look forward to, Basilio refused to resign himself to a life of tedious, hard labor that paid insultingly low wages. Getting up at 5 o'clock every morning to dig onions out of the ground did not portend a life of success, honor, or money in the bank. The poor Italian immigrants of Canastota worked the onion fields to put food on their kitchen tables and keep well shingled roofs over their heads. Either work in the fields or starve. It was that simple. It was what many people had to do, but it was not what Basilio would do. By the time young Basilio was in high school, he had gotten his fill. No more mucklands for him. No more digging in the mud, then going home with sore hands, wrists, and back. No more small pay packages. He had dreamed of being a boxer since he was a small boy. He told an interviewer, I can remember in the fourth grade, the teacher was asking all of us kids what we wanted to be when we grew up. I stood up and said, I'm going to be a boxer and be champion of the world. She said, that was the most disgusting thing I ever heard. I was embarrassed. As Basilio sat down, the class laughed at him. He didn't shrink down in his chair. Instead, he muttered that he would show them all. He would become a world champion and, in doing so, an honored celebrity of Canastota, and not only of Canastota, but also the world. Was such a dream too grandiose? It didn't matter to Basilio. One day, those kids who had laughed at him would respect and admire him as a hometown hero, and so would every person who was a boxing fan. He followed his dream, you guys. That's the best we can do for you. If you have any requests for any other subjects, please email me at jcasella@nmusd.us. If you need that, again, just ask your teacher. I'm here to take requests even during these creative times. Hopefully, we'll see you soon. Bye, guys. It will close, and hopefully, I'll learn better technical skills.